Man, the Baltimore Ravens are entering this stretch of the season with a lot of eyes on them. And honestly, there's a real sense that this team has the pieces to go on a serious run. Every week, it feels like Lamar Jackson reminds everyone why he is one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league. He's not just playing the game. He's redefining what it means to be a quarterback in today's NFL. The energy he brings, the way he reads defenses, and his ability to improvise under pressure. It's electrifying to watch, and it gives the Ravens a real edge. But as we all know, football is 60 minutes of war. It doesn't matter what the media says, it doesn't matter what the odds are or how talented your roster looks on paper. You have to go out there, execute, and handle your business one game at a time. And that's the challenge for the Ravens right now. They have the talent, they have the coaching, and they have the opportunity, but none of it matters unless they consistently perform on game day. One of the biggest storylines this week has been Jaire Alexander, and it's finally time to put that chapter to rest. The cornerback, who Baltimore fans have watched with high hopes for years, has officially moved on to the Philadelphia Eagles. And while the news is bittersweet, it's also a moment to reflect on why it never quite clicked in Baltimore. Injuries played a role, no doubt about that. Jaire struggled with his knee early on, missed key opportunities to get on the field, and then by the time he was ready to play at full strength, the Ravens had already moved in a different direction. His comments after arriving in Philadelphia were interesting because they confirmed what many had suspected. It wasn't about his physical ability. He said the team just had other players they wanted to give a shot to, particularly younger guys, and that's the reality in the NFL. Teams have to make decisions based on depth, strategy, and timing, not just talent. And while it's easy to feel disappointed for Jaire, it's also clear that the Ravens were operating in a situation where there was little margin for error. Looking back at his time in Baltimore, it's impossible not to think about the defensive setup. The Ravens have been experimenting with a 3-safety look, which essentially limits the number of corners who can see the field in certain packages. When you've got players like Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, and Chidobe Awuzie all in the mix, there's just not enough room for another corner to consistently get snaps. Jaire could have potentially challenged for a spot, but with the team relying on certain players for their special teams value and defensive versatility, the decision made sense from the coaching perspective, even if it's frustrating from a fan standpoint. And let's be real, when Jaire was on the field, we saw flashes of brilliance, but we also saw that knee holding him back at times. Now, he's healthy and motivated, and Philadelphia gives him a fresh start. It's going to be fascinating to see how he adapts to a new scheme and whether he can showcase the top-tier talent we all hope to see in Baltimore. The bigger picture here is what it says about the Ravens roster and their confidence in their current defensive backs. They believe in the guys they've got, and they're willing to ride them through thick and thin. That includes T.J. Tampa, who has been stepping in as a depth option, and others who have earned their playing time through consistent effort and adaptability. It's a balancing act, giving younger players opportunities while also ensuring the team remains competitive week to week. And in this league, there's no time for extended tryouts. One bad game, one blown coverage, and it can cost you a win. That's why the Ravens had to make the moves they made and why Jaire's story ended the way it did in Baltimore. On the offensive side of the ball, the conversation has shifted toward the line, which has been a significant concern all season. The guards, particularly Daniel Falale and Ben Powers, have struggled at times, and even with Ronnie Stanley being a reliable anchor when healthy, injuries have created gaps. Roger Saffold has also had some regression compared to his first year, which adds to the complexity. Enter Emory Jones, a player who represents potential and versatility. He's been recovering from a shoulder injury, and now that he's back on the practice field, the Ravens are exploring where he fits. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken has spoken about him in glowing terms, emphasizing his work ethic, toughness, and dedication. Jones hasn't had a full training camp or much live practice, which naturally limits his readiness, but there's optimism about what he can bring to the line. He's being tested at multiple positions to see where he can have the biggest impact, whether it's at guard or elsewhere, and the hope is that he can eventually step in to stabilize a line that's had its fair share of inconsistencies. The big challenge with Jones is experience. There's a difference between practicing and actually playing in games, especially at the professional level. Preseason and live snaps are crucial for rookies, and missing that can set back even the most talented players. But now that he's healthy and fully integrated back into practice, there's a real chance to see him develop into a key contributor. The Ravens are counting on him to add depth, provide competition, and potentially start if injuries or performance issues create openings. It's a calculated risk, but one that could pay dividends if Jones can adjust quickly to the pace and physicality of the NFL. As we look at the team as a whole, the Ravens have an interesting mix of challenges and opportunities. Defensively, they're dealing with personnel decisions, depth concerns, and a constantly evolving scheme. Offensively, they're managing line play, injuries, and the integration of new players like Emory Jones. Yet despite all this, the common thread is talent and resilience. Lamar Jackson leads a team that knows how to fight in tough situations, and the supporting cast, from receivers to tight ends to the running backs, is capable of stepping up when it matters most. It's that combination of leadership, skill, and adaptability that gives Baltimore a chance to make noise in the conference and potentially mount a serious playoff run. And then there's the human element, the players themselves navigating injuries, trades, and new roles. Jaire Alexander's move to Philadelphia is a prime example of how circumstances can shift quickly and how talent can find a new stage to shine. Meanwhile, rookies like Emory Jones are learning what it takes to survive and thrive in the league, adjusting to speed, physicality, and complex schemes. Every week brings a new test, and the Ravens are proving they have both the depth and mindset to face those challenges. At the end of the day, it's about seizing opportunities. The Ravens have a schedule ahead that can allow them to build momentum, but every game counts. Every snap, every play, every decision, on both sides of the ball, can tip the balance. And with players ready to step up, leaders like Lamar Jackson setting the tone, and coaching staff making strategic moves to maximize the roster, the team has every chance to turn potential into results. It's that delicate mix of talent, preparation, and execution that makes this team so intriguing right now, and why fans should be locked in and ready to watch every moment unfold. Looking ahead, the Ravens have a schedule that can really define their season. Week by week, the matchups demand focus and precision. Take the upcoming game against Minnesota, for example. It's the kind of contest where execution is everything. The Vikings have been disciplined, their offense is dynamic, and their defensive fronts can create pressure in an instant. For Baltimore, this isn't just another Sunday. It's a test of whether the team's chemistry, resilience, and game planning can stand up under real pressure. Lamar Jackson has shown he can elevate the team in moments like this, but it's more than just him. It's about the offensive line holding up against a fast, aggressive front. It's about the receivers getting open and making plays, and it's about the running backs being decisive in the gaps. Every position matters, and the Ravens can't afford a single breakdown if they want to walk out of that stadium with a win. Defensively, the spotlight remains on the corners and safeties, especially after the departure of Jaire Alexander. The young players stepping in are going to have to show growth and consistency. Marlon Humphrey continues to anchor the secondary. Nate Wiggins has shown flashes of potential, and Chidobe Awuzie provides versatility and special teams value. The scheme itself, particularly the three safety sets, demands adaptability. Players need to know when to rotate, when to shift, and how to handle mismatches. It's a chess match on the field every single play, and the Ravens' ability to adjust mid-game is going to be tested. Every coverage, every read, every reaction counts. If the defensive backs can limit big plays and create turnovers, Baltimore can control the tempo of the game. But if even one assignment is missed, the offense faces a short field, and suddenly what seemed manageable becomes a real struggle. That's the fine line the team walks every Sunday. Offensively, the progress of Emory Jones continues to be a storyline worth watching. He's finally had live reps and practices that are helping him adjust to the speed and physicality of the league. The coaches are trying him at multiple positions to see where he can contribute the most, which shows both his versatility and the team's intent to maximize every asset. It's not just about being a plug-and-play option. It's about fitting into a system where every block, every assignment, and every snap counts. When Jones gets a real chance in the game, the expectation isn't just competence, it's impact. He needs to be a factor in both run blocking and pass protection, and ideally, his presence will stabilize a line that's had inconsistent moments all season. The Ravens are playing a delicate balancing act, developing young talent without compromising immediate performance. It's high stakes, and the pressure is real, But that's the NFL, and the players know it. The dynamic with Lamar Jackson adds another layer. He's more than just a quarterback. He's the heart and engine of the offense. His ability to extend plays, to read defenses on the fly, and to create opportunities both through the air and on the ground is unparalleled. But even he can't do it alone. The offensive line has to hold their blocks longer than ever. The receivers have to win their matchups, and the running backs have to make smart, decisive cuts. The margin for error is razor thin, and every misstep is magnified on a national stage. That said, when the offense is clicking, it's almost unstoppable. Lamar's leadership sets the tone, and his ability to inspire confidence in the team is a game-changer. But the question remains, can the Ravens sustain this momentum over a series of tough matchups? Or will inconsistency on the line and minor breakdowns in the secondary cost them critical games? That's what makes this stretch so fascinating. The coaching staff, particularly on defense, has had to make tough decisions. The three safety sets are designed to counter specific offensive schemes, but they also create challenges for cornerbacks fighting for playing time. Depth becomes a huge factor, and that's where younger players or those stepping into bigger roles have to prove themselves. Every snap matters. A missed coverage can swing momentum, and the Ravens have seen firsthand how quickly games can change. For the fans watching, it's a roller coaster. One play can energize the stadium, while the next can bring frustration. But that's also part of the charm and intensity of Baltimore football. High stakes, passionate play, and a roster full of players ready to step up when called upon. Meanwhile, the offense continues to juggle injuries and player development. Ronnie Stanley's health remains a focal point, as does the performance of Daniel Falale and Ben Powers. The line is the foundation of the offense, and any instability can ripple through the entire game plan. That's why the emergence of Emory Jones is so critical. His ability to adapt and perform in multiple spots could relieve pressure on the rest of the line and allow the offense to operate more smoothly. The balance between veteran stability and rookie potential is delicate, but if managed well, it could be the difference between a win and a loss in close matchups. Looking at the Ravens as a whole, the story isn't just about talent. It's about resilience, adaptability, and timing. The team has to navigate a series of tough games, manage injuries, integrate new players, and maintain the high level of execution required to win in the NFL. Every Sunday presents a challenge, and the Ravens have shown they have the coaching, the talent, and the determination to meet those challenges head-on. Lamar Jackson sets the tempo, but it's the collective effort of the entire roster that determines whether they capitalize on opportunities or fall short. Fans have seen flashes of brilliance, both individually and as a team, but sustaining that level across a long season is the ultimate test. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In what could be the offseason's most shocking revelation, DeAndre Hopkins has reportedly spoken out in a manner that has left fans, analysts, and even his peers stunned. Sources close to the star wide receiver claim that Hopkins did something no one in the NFL has dared to say publicly. He openly criticized the culture of certain teams while hinting at his personal preference for the Baltimore Ravens as the best team in the league. The comments, which have yet to be officially verified, are already sending shockwaves across the league. Insiders say Hopkins didn't mince words, praising the Ravens organization, coaching staff, and locker room atmosphere while implying that other teams he's been associated with fell short in multiple areas. While some see this as a bold and honest assessment, others are already calling it a lightning rod for controversy. Social media has erupted with fans debating whether Hopkins is being brutally honest or simply stirring the pot for attention. Those familiar with the situation suggest that Hopkins' remarks are less about disparaging his former teammates and more about setting the record straight on what he values in a professional environment. The wide receiver has always been known for his competitiveness and candid nature, but insiders admit that this level of frankness is something the NFL rarely sees. The statement has sparked speculation about potential future moves, with some wondering if Hopkins is signaling interest in joining the Ravens in the near future, or at least aligning himself publicly with a team he admires. Meanwhile, the Ravens front office has reportedly stayed tight-lipped, neither confirming nor denying any connection to Hopkins' comments. But the rumor mill is now running at full speed, and analysts are predicting heated debates on sports talk shows for weeks to come. If Hopkins does make a move to Baltimore, it would undoubtedly shake the league, and if nothing else, his words have already guaranteed that the Ravens are the center of attention heading into the next season. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.